This is a tutorial from learnwebsitedesign.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make your HTML web pages XHTML 1.0 strict standards compliant. Now the first thing is HTML. Okay, HTML is the most commonly used markup language that is used to create web pages. Now, a markup language simply defines the elements of a web page. For example, in HTML, some of the elements are paragraphs, titles, headings, lists, tables, and so on and so on. Okay, now HTML is not a programming language, so a markup language is not a programming language. Now, XHTML, in particular XHTML 1.0, is a variation of HTML 4.0. Now, the major similarities are that they both consist of elements. For example, the head element, the title element, the body element, the HTML element, paragraph elements, header elements, and so on and so on. Another major difference between both is that XHTML is from the family of XML markup languages, and there are a few other differences which I'm going to be showing you at this moment. Now, first I'm going to show you a bare bones HTML document. Notice the HTML tag, or the HTML element, the head element, the title element, and the body element. Okay, so this is the most basic bare bones HTML document. Now, if you want to make an HTML document conform to XHTML 1.0 standards, the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to include a doc type declaration within as the first line within your document. Now, there are three versions of HTML documents that you can use, and they are XHTML 1.0 strict, XHTML 1.0 transitional, and XHTML 1.0 frame set. In this tutorial, I'm going to be going over I'm going to be including the XHTML 1.0 strict document within my HTML document, because that is what this tutorial is going to be covering. Now, this declaration, this doc type declaration, is going to be the first line within your document. Now, within your HTML element, you're going to want to include three attributes, and they are the XML in S attribute, the lang attribute, and the XML:lang attribute as well. For the sake of time in this tutorial, I'm just going to copy and paste the three attributes and their values within the HTML element. Another thing you should know with HTML strict 1.0 strict documents is that the mandatory HTML document elements are HTML, head, title, and body. Some more information is that every tag should have a closing tag, and if that tag does not have a closing tag, then that tag is considered an empty tag. Some examples of tags that have opening and closing tags are paragraphs, headings, and lists. For example, a paragraph must have an opening tag and a closing tag. An image tag does not have a closing tag, so that is going to be considered a self-enclosing tag. Now, self-enclosing tags must end with a blank space followed by a / and then the closing angle bracket. Now, you may have noticed that the doc type declaration does not end with a blank space and then the / before the closing angle bracket, and that is because it is not considered part of the document. Now I'm going to be covering case sensitivity. Now in HTML, it doesn't matter whether your elements are typed in lowercase or uppercase. If you want your XHTML documents to conform to XHTML 1.0 strict standards compliance, then all of your HTML element letters should be in lowercase. Also, within HTML elements, the attributes and more specifically their values should be enclosed within either double quotes or single quotes. For example, with the image tag, if you were to use the source attribute, the value for the source attribute can be either enclosed in single quotes or in double quotes. One last thing I should mention is nesting. Now in HTML documents, all tags must be nested properly. For example, if you have a list, first you must create the list by using an opening and closing list tag, and then within the list tag, the proper format is the parent element and then the child element within the list. Now to validate your web pages, you can go to validator.w3.org. There are three options: validate by URI, validate by file upload, and validate by direct input. In this case, I'm going to validate by direct input. I'm going to enter my HTML code, and this document should conform to the HTML 1.0 strict standard.